Yo, what is going on, everyone? My name is Nick, or The Notorious Fantasy, and in today's video, we are back with the week number 17 wide receiver start or sit decisions. We're going to be going in depth into every single matchup from Thursday Night Football all the way until Monday Night Football, and I'll be telling you guys whether you should start or sit the wide receivers in every single game. But before we could get into things, I would like to ask that if you did end up enjoying today's video, or you do end up enjoying today's video, because, it just started, please make sure that you hit that subscribe button down below, as well as hitting that like button, whether you are new to the channel or not. It does help me out a ton. If you want to follow me on Twitter, please do so at NotoriousFNTSY. Today's video is being brought to you guys by DraftKings Sportsbook, who we're going to be talking about a little bit later. Now, as you guys might have noticed, there hasn't been videos over the last couple of days, and that is because on Christmas, my dad actually had a heart attack, and there was a lot of stuff going on around that I just didn't feel like I should be recording stuff like that, so that's why I've been missing. We're going to be good from now on. My dad is now home. He's all good. He had surgery and everything, so that's all great. So no need to worry. I didn't mean to spook anyone with that alarm. I tweeted it out, so if you followed me on Twitter, you would have already known. But thank you guys for all the support you gave me on Twitter about that. I appreciate that. My dad appreciates it as well. So without further ado, let's get less gloomy. We're going to be talking about the championship, Week 17. Wide receiver, start or sit decisions. We begin with Thursday Night Football, the Dallas Cowboys at the Tennessee Titans. This Thursday Night Football matchup absolutely reeks. Without Ryan Tannehill and more than likely without Derrick Henry, we have Malik Willis, Treylon Burks, Robert Woods, Nick Westbrook-Ikhine against the Dallas Cowboys, who are basically on top of the world right now. This is a terrible matchup. CeeDee Lamb should realistically go pretty crazy in this game as long as they are throwing the ball a decent amount. Now, we have seen, aside from last week up against the Eagles, this team get really complacent and start just running the rock at a very high rate. Now, obviously, that was successful for the team, so I'm not saying that that's necessarily a bad idea to run Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott a bunch in this spot. Tony Pollard is a little bit banged up, though. His availability is a little up in the air, but again, I think CeeDee Lamb should have a solid game up against the Titans defense, but as a whole, this game is very uninteresting at the wide receiver position. The team brings in T.Y. Hilton, and they're kind of talking about how he's going to be a little bit more involved this week, so he's a guy that isn't very fantasy relevant, but could be interesting to see how much his usage increases in the playoffs. Michael Gallup, Noah Brown, one of these guys could have a decent game, but ultimately, I just don't trust any of them. The only wide receiver I trust at all on Dallas is CeeDee Lamb. There's also rumors of Terrell Owens potentially going to the Dallas Cowboys. The motherfucker's 49 years old. He's going to need a cane to go out there and play. I ultimately don't think that's going to actually happen, but just an interesting tidbit of information I came across this morning. Treylon Burks, Robert Woods, Nick Westbrook-Ikhine. I love Treylon Burks, the player, but this is not the matchup. I know the Dallas Cowboys defense has been in a bit of a slump, but Malik Willis is just fucking awful, so I really don't think that Treylon Burks, Robert Woods, or Nick Westbrook-Ikhine have really much upside in this spot. Next up, we move to the Arizona Cardinals at the Atlanta Falcons. Now, DeAndre Hopkins shit the bed in a big way last week up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Christmas. DeAndre Hopkins had a zillion targets, barely came down with any of them. An incredibly bad game out of who is one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. This week, he gets the incredibly soft serve matchup of playing up against a garbage Atlanta Falcons defense. So realistically, on paper, this is a smash game for DeAndre Hopkins, but if Trace McSorley, even if Colt McCoy's back under center, look, this is a bad situation. So I'm still going to start DeAndre Hopkins because I know the upside's there. Trace McSorley isn't terrible, but he's not going to be able to get DeAndre Hopkins to finish as a top 5 wide receiver. Now, because the matchup is so juicy, could he potentially just sneak in to be a top 12 guy? Definitely, but I'm not going to have him ranked super high in the week just because of the quarterback position. Drizzy Drake London has played a little bit better with Desmond Ridder under center. The Cardinals defense is a bit of a disaster as well. Sadly, my guy J.J. Watt, I love J.J. Watt, is going to end up retiring at the end of this season. That obviously sucks as I've been a fan of him for a while, but it seems like everyone's a fan of him, right? That's kind of a pretty vague statement. A lot of people like J.J. Watt, but great for him, though, to retire after having an amazing career. So Drake London here should be in for a pretty decent spot. It's hard to have the highest of hopes, though, because again, he's on the Falcons, and Desmond Ritter's giving him the ball a little bit more, but it's still Desmond Ridder, so things aren't the best for either of these teams. Hollywood Brown, I love the player. The situation is just gross. Greg Dortch, same thing. Olamide Zacchaeus or Demir Bird are pretty interesting because any given week, one of them could score a touchdown. The problem is you never know which one is going to be or when that's going to happen, so you're leaving both of them on the bench. Next up, we move to the Chicago Bears at the Detroit Lions. Want to keep this one incredibly short like Kyler Murray. Amon-Ra St. Brown is a must start every single week. It doesn't matter if he's playing up against the 2022 Chicago Bears or the 1985 unstoppable defense Chicago Bears. I don't give a damn. Amon-Ra St. Brown is one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. Jared Goff has been playing extremely well thus far this season. I know he's had some down games, so I'm not saying that Jared Goff is this miraculous top 10 fucking quarterback. That would be absurd to say. But up against the Bears, could he elevate himself to be a top 5 quarterback for fantasy? Like, look really good? Because again, the Chicago Bears defense is complete and utter dick cheese. Soft serve ice cream. This should be a very easy matchup for Mr. Amon-Ra St. Brown. So I like him a ton in this spot up against the Bears. The Bears are just throwing out fucking Walmart employees as wide receivers, some McDonald's guys. They got Dante Pettis, the Chip King, Byron Pringle, the oldest rookie ever, the guy that, when he was born, they were still fucking riding in those stone cars or wood cars they had in Fred Flintstone, yabba dabba doo. Velus Jones was alive when the dinosaurs were walking the earth, basically. He's had a couple good plays, but outside of that, he's been pretty bad, so Velus Jones is going to be a sit. If you are in a deeper league in your championship spot here and you need to go with DJ Chark, I'm not going to have a crazy argument with you, because if I was doing a deeper list for starts, say instead of the top 36, we go with the top 38, then DJ Chark would have cracked that. So if there's a player on here that you're like, I'd actually think I have DJ Chark ranked ahead of him, or I'd rather play DJ Chark over that player, you're not going to get much of an argument from me in the comment section. Josh Reynolds, Jameson Williams, all these other guys are going to be sits. Again, DJ Chark is very close to being a start. He has been pretty hit or miss, though, which obviously sucks, but that's what's going to happen when you're behind one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, as well as the fact that the team does have a pretty decent run game in Detroit. Next up, we move to the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Houston Texans. Zay Jones had a stinker of a game. I know everyone was riding high. I was riding incredibly high. I was banging the drum aggressively last week because Zay Jones was on fucking fire NBA Jam style. There was reason to believe that even up against the Jets defense, that might be one of the best defenses in the NFL last week on Thursday Night Football, Zay Jones might just continue to be hot and drop 25 points, take a dump on Sauce Gardner's fucking chest and smear it around. Now, obviously, that didn't end up happening. But could it happen this week up against a bottom-of-the-barrel Houston Texans defense? Yes, Christian Kirk has been pretty hit or miss this season as well. But again, this is a wet dream matchup. You're going to start him. And Trevor Lawrence has been unreal. It's crazy that our perception of Trevor Lawrence was shifted so heavily last year because he had to deal with that stooge, Urban Meyer, as his head coach. And now with Doug Peterson, who's a really good head coach, in my opinion, he's been really shining. In terms of the other options in this game, Brandon Cooks and Chris Moore are pretty decent players. The Jaguars defense isn't very good at all, but ultimately, I just don't think I have very much trust in Brandon Cooks, Chris Moore, Philip Dorsett, any of these guys for the Houston Texans when everyone is healthy. I don't know if Nico Collins is going to end up playing or not, but if Nico Collins end up playing, it would throw an even bigger wrench into the situation. If there was a gun to my head and it was like, Nick, you got to pick one of them, Chris Moore, Philip Dorsett, Brandon Cooks, I'd probably lean with Brandon Cooks. But again, I don't feel very confident in that. Marvin Jones Jr., he's going to show up every once in a while, but he's not really a start-worthy wide receiver. He's the second best Jones on the team behind Mr. Zay Jones. Next up, we move to the Denver Broncos at the Kansas City Chiefs. It's funny how going into this year, for all the best ball stuff that I did, I was really looking heavily into Week 17, right? That's the best ball championship. That's where you make all the money. It's like, ooh, Broncos Chiefs, Russell Wilson, Mr. Unlimited versus Patrick Mahomes. Ooh, Nathaniel Hackett, this fucking quarterback guru. Everyone's giving him the Gawk 9000. And now we're in Week 17. This matchup fucking sucks. Russell Wilson is garbage, bottom of the barrel. It seemed like the team, if you watched couple of videos on Twitter that the team wanted Brett Rippon to come in instead of Russell Wilson because they were tired of getting fucked in the ass by Baker Mayfield without the use of any lube, sodomized them. They wanted Brett Rippon to come in. It was very funny. Look, Jerry Jeudy has been playing well. The Chiefs' defense is no world beater. So Jerry Jeudy, even with Mr. Unlimited playing like dog shit, yeah, Jerry Jeudy can get it done. But am I ecstatic to throw Jerry Jeudy or any Broncos player in my lineup? Fuck no, baby. In terms of Juju Smith-Schuster, we've seen some really high points this season out of Juju where it's like, oh, that's why people talked up Juju. Now, I wasn't a big fan of Juju going into the season because I really thought it was kind of a coin flip. Like, if Juju was even going to be the number one receiver, like, Travis Kelce is such a, not a polarizing figure, but he's such a strong figure on the team. And they have MVS and they bring in Kadarius Toney. It's like, to me, it wasn't set in stone that Juju was going to be the guy. But it's pretty clear he is the number one receiver on the team. The Broncos defense is really good, so I'm not really banging the drum aggressively for Juju, but I definitely would start him in this spot. And the Chiefs look like now they're kind of in playoff mode where they're just going to dick down a team, right? Earlier on in the season, they'd kind of let these bad teams hang around with them, stay in the game, whereas now they're just laying the hammer to them. They're not letting them stay around and potentially somehow fuck them over by winning the game, right? So Juju should have a pretty solid game here. Again, the matchup though on paper is not ideal. Courtland Sutton, he could play in this game. I really just don't care. Courtland Sutton, probably my biggest miss this season, a swing and a miss, and the ball was ready in the catcher's mitt. I was a big fan of Sutton. He sucked this year. It is what it is. Freddie Swain from the Seahawks, now in the Broncos. He's a sit. MVS, Kadarius Toney, they're sits as well. I really only trust Juju and Travis Kelce on the Chiefs in terms of wide receiver / tight ends. But before we pivot on into the next game, as well as the rest of the games at the wide receiver position, I would like to give you guys a quick word for our friends and our sponsor over at DraftKings Sportsbook. Now, if you're a brand new user to DraftKings Sportsbook and you click on the link in the video description down below and deposit $5. You got to bet those $5 and on any pregame money line. So $5 or more on any pregame money line, you will win $150 in free bets if your team wins. So you don't have to take some, the game might be 50-50. For instance, the next game we're talking about Dolphins versus the Patriots. I know Teddy Bridgewater's in there. That game's kind of 50-50. Who knows who's going to win that? So my best advice is to get off the NFL and go to college basketball where the biggest favorites are. Houston, money line, minus 3,500 versus Tulsa. You bet $5 on Houston money line and you get $150 in free bets if they win, and they should. They're huge favorites in this spot. So bet $5 on them or any other team. You can do whatever you want. Just give my suggestion for today. Bet $5 on Houston money line, win $150 in free bets if your bet wins. And make sure you use these free bets because they're only active for 7 days after you receive them. If you have any questions, ask them down below in the comment section. I'd love to talk to you guys down there. Again, shout out to DraftKings Sportsbook for sponsoring today's video. Make sure you take advantage of this offer before it disappears. So back on into things. Next up, we move to the Miami Dolphins at the New England Patriots. Now, the Dolphins had a mighty collapse like Humpty Dumpty falling off the wall on Christmas. Now I watched that game. I almost jumped off my roof, wanted to take a bath with a fucking toaster after that game because it hit me. It was like, holy shit, man. My whole entire life, I have talked to myself every year. It's like, this is the year for the Dolphins. This is the year. And then, it's never the year. But this year, something felt different. It felt like there was a different energy. It felt like Mike McDaniel, Tua Tagovailoa, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. This offense was buzzing. It was like, holy shit, Nick, you finally got it. You found a blind squirrel finds its nut every once in a while. You are going to finally move to the promised land. You're going to get to the playoffs. And this feels eerily similar to a couple of years ago when the Dolphins made the playoffs because fucking Tua's hurt now. That's what happened last time. Ryan Tannehill gets hurt. We have to watch Matt Moore play in the playoffs. It's going to be the same shit if we make the playoffs, and it hurts my soul. It hurts everything in me to have to endure this again. Tua got concussed against the 49ers, against the Packers. That's why he played like such shit at the end of the game through three interceptions. Dude was looking like Stevie Wonder out there. It was embarrassing. Makes sense now. Tua was slinging early on. I was like, holy shit, this guy's amazing. And then I turned my back on him. And I didn't know he was concussed. If I knew he was concussed, I wouldn't have tweeted out that I want this guy out of here. Because in my mind, this guy's perfectly fine through 3 picks, almost ending our season, right? And now it's Teddy. And look, again, I'm not here to commentate here and tell you, oh, should Tua come back this week? What's going to happen? I don't know. I'm not a doctor. As much of a doctor as Johnny Sins. Whatever the doctors say is okay, That's what I'm good with. If the doctor says, Tua, maybe you should retire, pal, it's okay. If Tua wants to retire, I'm not going to hate him. Take care of yourself. If they say, Tua, you can come back next week against the Jets, Tua wants to play, then let him play. It's up to him. Whatever the doctors tell him, whatever he feels right doing, let him play. If he doesn't want to play, okay. It is what it is. I just want to make my position very clear because there's a lot of people that are trying to say, oh, Tua needs to retire, Tua this, Tua that. Whatever the fuck the guy wants to do, let him do it. You're not going to make the decision for him. Let the doctors talk to him. It is what it is. We're going to be without Tua. Teddy Two Gloves under center. Thank God, because if we went Skylar Thompson, the Patriots would ram us relentlessly. We would get butt fucked in that game. We would get diddled with. It would be because Bill Belichick is like undefeated against these young quarterbacks, right? Besides Tua. These young quarterbacks, Bill Belichick owns them. Skylar Thompson, a fucking late round rookie pick. What was he going to do? Nothing. He's going to get fucked. No shot. And yet Dolphins fans on Twitter, we're going to talk too long about this. Dolphins fans on Twitter, I'm a Dolphins fan. Bunch of fucking idiots. Oh, play Skylar. Skylar is going to get destroyed. Do not play Skylar. So Tyreek, Waddle, even with Teddy Two Gloves under center, not as good as Tua, we're going to be fine. Play Tyreek, play Jaylen Waddle. Don't fucking overthinking. Oh my God, it's against the Patriots. Don't overthink. Don't overthink, because if you sit Tyreek Hill and the motherfucker gets 200 yards and 2 touchdowns, you shouldn't be surprised. Jaylen Waddle, the exact same thing. Both of these guys playing at a very high level recently. You start them. When it comes to Jacoby Myers, you play him. The Dolphins' defense is not as good away compared to home. This game is in Foxborough. Jacoby Myers should be decent. Not a guy that I'm fucking giving the gawk 9,000, the dick suckaroo, right? I'm not blowing this guy, but he should be fine. Trent Sherfield, he's been okay. With Teddy under center, there's no way you're starting him. Kendrick Bourne, Nelson Aguilar, Devontae Parker, these other ancillary options for the Patriots, I just don't feel comfortable starting him. I'm not even really all that high on Jacoby Myers. Next up, we got the Colts at the New York Football Giants. Michael Pittman Jr. is a start, but he is the bottom of the barrel start. Like, if you wanted to start DJ Chark over Michael Pittman Jr., which might have sounded fucking absurd if you said it in August to me, I would have been like, you're a fucking idiot. Why would you say that? Now we're sitting here, week 17, it makes sense. It adds up, right? If you wanted to do that, go right ahead. 9-inch Nicholas Foles, my guy, Big Dick Nick, played terrible against the Chargers. For some reason, I talked myself into, oh man, Big Dick Nick, he's gonna win. He's a win. The guy's, every time he comes in, it's like, oh, this guy's gonna win. Probably because he won the Super Bowl, and it just has me thinking he's gonna win. He didn't win. It is what it is. He didn't look good. The Giants' defense, though, isn't great either. He looked bad against the Chargers, and the Chargers have a pretty bad defense, but their defense has been ramping it up recently. So maybe the fact that the Giants' defense isn't very good can elevate Michael Pittman Jr., but again, he's not a guy that you're having a wet dream at night on Saturday night thinking, oh, wow, I have fucking Michael Pittman Jr. sitting there on New Year's Eve fucking celebrating 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're like, oh my gosh, I get to play Michael Pittman in the morning. No, you're not thinking that. You're like, shit, I have to play Michael Pittman. Isaiah Hodgins went insane. Isaiah Hodgins, Randy Moss walked so Isaiah Hodgins could run is the meme, right? Of course, Isaiah Hodgins is this legend. He's been playing well. I gotta give him some fucking credit. I'm Rick James, bitch, has been playing well as well. Richie James for the Giants. I'd rather play Hodgins, though. Darius Slayton's been okay, but again, I'd prefer Hodgins. The other Colts wide receivers, just fucking throw them in the dumpster. Don't want anything to do with Petty Campbell or Alec Pierce. Next up, we got the Saints at the Philadelphia Eagles. The Saints are just dead in the water. The Saints are terrible. I know they beat the Browns last week, but who really gives a fuck? Thank God they finally utilized Alvin Kamara for once, you dumb bastard, Dennis Allen. I can't stand Dennis Allen. I don't know how this guy still has a job. I wish Sean Payton was still there, because then Jameis would at least be playing, and we would see more Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara was a bust this year. If you somehow fucking drugged your team to the playoffs with Alvin Kamara in there, and then you got awarded with that crazy game, congratulations. Even though all the conditions were pointing towards Alvin Kamara going nuclear, thinking like, if anyone saw Luka play last night, Luka Doncic, that game was amazing. I was thinking, oh man, Kamara, even in this positive game environment, everything, it's snowing, it's fucking cold as shit, they're gonna run. Even then, I was like, I don't fucking know, because Alvin Kamara hasn't done anything. He's been awful outside of, 1 or 2 spots this year? So again, when it comes to the Saints, I don't know about Chris Olave. If he plays, I guess you could play him against the Eagles, but the matchup is so negative. Traquan Smith, Rashid Shaheed, Marquez Callaway, stay far away from these guys. Gardner Minshew lost to the Cowboys last week, but he played really well. Gardner Minshew put the team on his back, though, had a pretty solid game. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, must starts. Doesn't matter if Hurts. They're talking about, oh, maybe Hurts can play. Hurts isn't going to Hurts isn't going to play, let's be honest. Hurts is not playing. It's going to be Gardner Minshew, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. You play them anyways. They played good last week. Quez Watkins is one of those guys that might pull a rabbit out of the hat every once in a while and have a big catch, 60-yard touchdown. But the likelihood of that happening with Gardner Minshew under center compared to Jalen Hurts is significantly lower, so we're just going to sit Quez Watkins down this game. Next up, we got the Carolina Panthers at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The battle for the AFC South? How exciting, right? Everyone wants to see this. Seeing the Buccaneers all these games in a row in primetime, like, again, it's hard to blame the schedule makers because, again, we got a lot of Broncos on primetime. On paper going into the year, I thought the Broncos were going to be good. You probably thought the exact same thing. And if you didn't think so, maybe you just were a Russell Wilson hater. But I thought Russell Wilson was going to be good. So, it is what it is. DJ Moore, playing him. The Panthers ran train on the Lions. Like, they didn't have to throw it all. Like, Sam Darnold could have just handed it off to Chuba Hubbard and Donta Foreman, who formed an Eiffel Tower over that defense, and the game would have been over. They ran for 1,000,000 yards. It was crazy. It was truly crazy, because going into that game, I was thinking, and people probably thought, I didn't read too many of the comments because there was a lot of shit going on this weekend. I talked about it at the beginning of this video, but, like, going into the game, it was like Foreman and Hubbard. They're kind of in this committee. The Lions defense looking good against the run. Just stay away from both of them. And then, bam! 1-2, fucking Floyd Mayweather. It was crazy. But, hey, DJ Moore, he's a start here up against the Bucs. Chris Godwin's definitely a start against the Panthers defense. Doesn't seem like J.C. Horn's going to play. Mike Evans is a bottom-of-the-barrel start. He has been so bad. So bad recently. And what's funny is for years, I was always anti-Mike Evans. Like, oh, he's a great player. Cannot keep up with the touchdowns. He can't do it. He can't. There's no way. And then every year, I come back, I say the same shit. He fucking front hand, backhand like the Key and Peele sketch. He slaps me up. Does the 1-2 Mayweather, right? It's like every year he can't do it, but he does. Every year. Same thing with Tom Brady. I try to talk myself off of Tom Brady. This old bastard. He's not going to be able to do it. And then I just changed my tune. I said, you know what? This guy's good. Brady's good. The wheels are never going to fall off. Fuck it. I love Mike Evans. And then Mike Evans sucks this year. Very funny. The one time I'm finally fully confident. I was still drafting him over the last couple of years, but I just wasn't as confident. And then this time, I get real confident. My britches get a little too big. And then bam! Fucking slapped in the face, Will Smith style by Mike Evans. Terrence Marshall, sit him. Laviska Shenault, sit him. Russell Gage, sit him. I mean, they're just so uninteresting. Laviska, Terrence Marshall, they could have big games. It wouldn't surprise me. Same thing with Russell Gage. I just don't trust them. Next up, we move to the Browns at the Commanders. Left hand up. Who are we? The Commanders? For some reason, Riverboat Ron needs to give his head a shake because they went back to Carson Wentz. Now, I know there's going to be some Carson Wentz defenders. There's going to be people that think Carson Wentz is better than Heineke, and maybe he ever so slightly is. But this team has all types of juice. They got the juice when we see Heineke under center, and when Wentz is under there, they suck. They suck. They don't do shit. Wentz does not motivate them at all. I know Heineke isn't some great quarterback in the NFL. I know. But this team is flopping around like a fucking fish out of water when Wentz is under center. So why go back to him? You can make the playoffs. You're playing the Browns. They insist on playing Carson Wentz. Now, there's people, fans of every team that watch these videos. If you're a Commanders fan, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And maybe they'll win because the Browns aren't really good. But let's be honest. I don't know why they went back to Wentz. I really don't. Amari Cooper's a start, but oh, man, I really thought, Watson's coming back. Ooh, Amari Cooper. It's going to be so fun. It's not fun. It's not fun. Watson fucking sucks. He's playing like dog shit. And could he be good next year? Yeah. Maybe you just need the time to get the monkey off the back. Maybe he needs a tug or something. He'll feel a little bit better. But right now, Amari Cooper against the Commanders, I'm not very confident. McLaurin, fucking Titanic sinking. He was doing so good with Heineke. Now he's sleeping with the fishes like Luca Brasi. Jahan Dotson. I like Jahan Dotson. Great player. Fun player. Wentz kind of throws the ball not as much, like not focusing on one guy. So I think Dotson might be seeing more balls thrown his way from him. Could be good. Could be very good. Could be very shit if you've ever seen that clip from that soccer guy. Okay, look, I'm playing Dotson. I'm playing McLaurin, but am I excited? No. Donovan Peoples-Jones has been in a rut. Sitting him. David Ring the Bell. Sitting him. The bells, Danny. Game of Thrones. Curtis Samuel, sit as well. Carson Wentz legitimately sucked the fun out of this team. Sucks. Next up, we move to the 49ers at, turn the volume down, the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, my throat is still a little bit fucked up from being sick, so my Raiders wasn't as good, so I apologize. All right, Niners, Raiders, Big Cock Brock versus Derek Carr. Keep it simple, stupid, as they say. Devontae Adams, you play him. Simple. Brandon Ayuk, without Debo, you play him. Now, they've been using Kittle a lot more. Ayuk hasn't been flourishing, but the Raiders' defense, bottom of the barrel, dog shite. Wouldn't even wipe my ass if I had no toilet paper with the Raiders' defense. It's that bad. Ayuk, you start him. Jawan Jennings, Ray McLeod III, sit him. Hunter Renfrow, got a lot of grit, scored a touchdown last week. I was a big Hunter Renfrow guy. He looked really good last year, even with Adams coming, blah, blah, blah. Looked really good. He's been hurt. He's back. He's fine. Niners defense is tough, though, so I stay away. Mac Hollins, with Hunter Renfrow back, he's kind of lost a bit of an edge. All right, guys, quick note. I'm editing this into the video right now. I recorded this video, and then towards the end of recording, when I got towards one of the last games, it came out that Derek Carr has been benched for Jared Stidham. I don't know why they're doing that. Still going to play Devontae Adams. But now my confidence in Devontae Adams is down in the dumps. Now, I don't think Stidham's awful, but like he's nowhere near the same pedigree as Derek Carr. So the upside against a really good 49ers defense was already not like, I wasn't like super excited about Adams. Now it's like, I'm still going to start him, but like he's not a guy that I'm comfortable saying is even going to finish inside the top 12 this week. Next up, we move to the New York Jumbo Jets at the Seattle Seahawks. Garrett Wilson. Mike White is back, baby. Mike White is back. Zach Wilson sucked all the value away. Siphoned it away from Garrett Wilson. And now Garrett Wilson, like a bird, caw, can fly again, baby. Soar Garrett Wilson for the championship. He fucked you last week. No lube, not even the common courtesy to spit. But now he's back. He's back for blood, as they would say. Get it back in blood. Garrett Wilson against the Seahawks. The Seahawks, another one of those teams that's on the downward swing, stock down. Team is dead. This is their last hope. They're going to be swinging from the fucking heavens. See what happens here. Should be interesting. Garrett Wilson, though, you start him. DK Metcalf. There's probably going to be no Tyler Lockett. He's listed on here. He could play. I don't think he's going to play. You're playing Metcalf, even up against Sauce Gardner, Elijah Moore, Corey Davis. They both kind of have a little more interesting with Magic Mike White under center. But again, sitting them down. Marquise Goodwin played a bunch of last week's game with, I think, a broken hand. Not great. Broken hand doesn't just heal in one fucking week. He's going to play. He's going to be banged up. Probably not going to play too well. Next up, we got the Vikings at the Packers. Should be pretty interesting. A division game. I like a lot of receivers here. I think this is going to be really high scoring. Both of these teams have bad defenses, pretty solid offenses. Aaron Rodgers ruined Christmas, but he didn't actually ruin Christmas because, again, like I said, there's something that happened even worse on Christmas. But yeah, Justin Jefferson probably going to score 20-plus points. This guy can beat Megatron's record, most receiving yards in a season, going to, as long as they don't send him next week. Love him. Justin Jefferson, start him against the Packers. Adam Thielen hasn't been playing as well recently, but again, this matchup has all of the makeups to be a tit-for-tat, rock'em sock'em, high-scoring affair. I'm starting Thielen. Christian Watson, taking a fucking nap like Snorlax. Last couple of weeks, not playing too well, banged up. Might play, might not play. If he plays, I'm playing him. If he doesn't play, I'm not playing him. And that would elevate Allen Lazard even further. Again, this matchup reeks of points, so I like the wide receivers in this spot. KJ Osborne, he had that one big game against the Colts. Awesome to see. I like him as a player. But do I trust him even up against not a garbage Packers defense, because we shouldn't really, like, the Vikings have a garbage defense. The Packers defense isn't that bad, but for all intents and purposes, they don't have great defense. But again, I'm not going to bang the drum for KJ Osborne. Romeo Dobbs, if Watson sits, I would potentially consider playing Romeo Doubs. Next up, we move to the Los Angeles Rams at the LA Chargers. This game was supposed to be, I think, Sunday Night Football, and then they moved it. Baker Mayfield on Nickelodeon won the MVP, the Nickelodeon Valuable Player, at the beginning of the game. Now, I didn't watch this shit on Nickelodeon, but I saw a bunch of tweets about it. And at the beginning of the game, the announcer said probably the funniest thing I've ever seen. So this big crane, like the claw in Toy Story, came and grabbed Baker Mayfield before the game and took him off the field, right? Like as a joke. And they said, the announcer, the commentator, whatever you want to call him, says, yeah, with how bad the Broncos are, we're going to need to take Baker Mayfield out to make this a close game. And then even Patrick Starr, during the game from SpongeBob, put Russell Wilson in a body bag, a fucking tomb. It was hilarious. If you have not seen those clips, please look them up. Incredibly funny. Again, it's like, it's funny if you get the humor. If you're like me, you know, a child at heart, it was funny. But the only other funny thing from that, and then we'll go back to the game, was when Santa Claus, they put Santa on the field, and he was wide open, and they're like, oh, Baker, you got to throw it to Santa. I thought that was really funny. I don't know why I thought that was funny, but it was. I just saw it on Twitter again. I wasn't watching the game on Nickelodeon. I was barely watching that game. If you watched all of that game, you deserve a fucking Nobel Peace Prize for watching that bullshit. So, Keenan Allen, Magic Mike Williams, Mystic Mike Williams, whatever you want to call him. Rams defense is looking a lot better, but let's be honest, the Chargers offense is just on a whole nother level. They're amazing. They're hitting on all cylinders, clicking on all cylinders. Keenan's on fire, so you got to play Keenan. Got to play Mike Williams too. The Chargers don't have a good defense, but Baker doesn't really just lock into one guy. He's not like, he locked into Higbee, but he's not like, bam, I love you, Van Jefferson. Throw the ball a million times. He just doesn't do that. He kind of spreads the ball around. So Van Jefferson, Tutu Atwell, Brandon Powell, they're all sits. Joshua Palmer now is the third guy. Is a sit as well. Next up, we move to the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Baltimore Ravens for Sunday Night Football. If you've ended up enjoying this far, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below as well as hit that like button. It would help me out a ton. So Deontay Johnson going up against the Baltimore Ravens defense. The Ravens defense has been on the up and up recently. Again, I still really don't have the highest of praises to sing for them. Kenny Pickett, Deontay Johnson should be fine. I mean, George Pickens scored the game-winning touchdown. Cool. I like George Pickens. I think he's a talented player, but I just think in terms of both of them at this point in the season, gun to the head, I'd rather play Deontay Johnson. The Ravens, another one of those teams rolling out McDonald's employees. The local Walmart squad goes out there and plays for them. If Deshaun Jackson is one of your top 3 receivers in the year 2022, your team's in a bad spot. It just really is. He might be the number 1 receiver on the team, and that's how you know it's really bad. So they got fat man Sammy Watkins, one donut away from being a linebacker or a tight end, whatever they said. Deshaun Jackson, DeMarcus Robinson. It's fucking disgusting. It's gross. Sit them all. Pickens, if you have to start him, go ahead. But I got him listed as a sit. And then Steven Sims, the third string receiver, is a sit as well. Final game here. The fucking closer to week 17. The best game of the week. Monday Night Football. Bills at Bengals. Obviously, you don't have to be some rocket science, like, right? Rocket scientist. Like, I think Matt Patricia is actually a rocket scientist to start Stephon Diggs. You're starting him. Same thing goes to Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. You're playing them regardless. Gabe Davis, the big boomer bust. This game reeks, for me, of the boom. This feels like the big game. Now, I'm not saying it's guaranteed. Hands up. Not saying it's guaranteed, but I think it might be possible. Isaiah McKenzie, sit his ass down. Tyler, yeah, Boyd, sit him down as well. Diggs, Davis, Chase, T. Higgins, all starts. Thank you guys all so much for watching. If you did end up enjoying, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below as well as hit that like button. It would help me out a ton. If you want to follow me on Twitter, please do so at NotoriousFNTSY. Again, make sure you check out the sponsor of today's video, DraftKings Sportsbook. Bet $5 on any sport pregame money line, win $150 in free bets, as long as your team wins. Again, my best bet, college basketball, Houston, money line minus 3,500 versus Tulsa. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Again, love you guys all. See you guys later with another video. And as always, good boy!